The first thing I set out to do was make the console itself. So I start off by making these things to house our next-gen Oreo. Once I got the shape about where I wanted it, I removed the bit of the sides to make it resemble the console we all know and love. But I guess since I don't have one yet, I don't really know much about it. Then I deleted one of the cases so I can move them around individually. Doing this allows me to move them around or spread them apart freely, just like your mom. After I spaced the case out, I was able to put the center of the console between the two. Thankfully, I won't need all the chips and hardware Sony used in their console, because my PlayStation 5 is going to be powered on imagination. It's a joke, but at the same time, it's kind of true. Next up is making proper ventilation on the sides of the PS5, which is done simply by cloning a rectangle all along the sides of the console. I know it's not an actual ventilation system, but again, this console is powered by imagination. I needed to make sure the vents weren't super blocky, so I added a bit of curve all along the top of them. This way, once the covers are together, they'll at least look like believable PlayStation 5 vents from a distance. Thankfully, I don't have to do all that work again, and I can just copy that entire vent and mirror it on the other side of the PS5, which out of 2 days of work saves me about 2 minutes. So then I adjusted the upper lip cover thing as similar as I could to the actual console. I then brought both of the pieces together, but realized whoever designed these vents didn't measure them at all, and a professional would clearly remake them. So I slid them further in the console and called it a day. So far, the PS5 is looking pretty good, but in order to make it actually functional, I still got some work to do. With the case and vents now done, I immediately moved on to the back of the console, because you can't play a PlayStation 5 if you don't have PlayStation 5 ports, or at least empty squares that look like ports. After making some USB slots that connect to absolutely nothing, I added some more ventilation on the back of the PlayStation 5 that once again does nothing, but as we all agreed, imagination. Next is a stand, which is pretty simple since it's just a black circle under the console. Now, unlike Sony, my console is able to stand up and lay down without it. Guess I could teach them a thing or two about remaking their own console again. After making a copy of the center of the console, I started working on that signature blue PlayStation light, which was pretty easy to make since I could just get rid of any parts I didn't need, position it correctly, and make it glow. The perfect lighting at night to see your mom. Then of course you gotta put that PlayStation logo right on the side. Perfect. I mean, my other attempts weren't really much better, and I don't know if you realize this, but drawing the PlayStation logo is a lot harder than it seems. So,
Copy, paste.
That looks about as professional as it gets. And since we're borrowing logos, I might as well.
Copy, paste.
Brand new Sony logo fresh out the copy paste box. So here's the console, but we're still not done, because now we need the controller. Next scene, please. This is what I'm aiming for, and this is what I got so far. I was able to blend the shapes together and chopped off some stuff, then added some stuff, then added too much stuff, which is fine because I just chopped off more stuff. And after shaping the controller grip things, it actually looks nice. So now I needed to add the base of the analogs, and at this point you can really see the controller is coming together. Now the thing that stands out the most about the PlayStation 5 controller is the similar black and white design it has to the console. So by cloning one and turning the other black, removing extra parts of the controller, I'm then able to have that two-tone look that the controller is known for. And of course the controller needs buttons, so done. There we go. Then to make the touchpad, where I just chopped off some of the controller. Now back to the buttons, the D-pad didn't really look like a D-pad, so I added some squares here, here, and here, and from a distance it actually doesn't look that bad. Well, you can't have a D-pad without the arrow bits too, so I added those too. I then moved on to making the button shapes, and at first I thought I could use this thing to make it look more crisp, but for some reason the icon fades away at certain distances. So I'll just have to do it the hard way. And with that done, it actually looks nice. So, we still need more buttons. Options and create, done. R1 and L1, done. Making the lights by the touchpad glow, that's done too. So then the only thing left to do was create the triggers, both the analogs, and then
Paste.
But now that I finished the controller and the console, the only thing left to do was to make them both working pieces of hardware, which means I plan to use them both to navigate the PlayStation menu, and eventually play an actual video game. Alright, next scene. So here, I simply set up the console next to a TV and placed the controller in the hands of a character I made, which if all things go according to plan, things are gonna get pretty meta because he's gonna be playing the game he's starring in, but we'll get to that later. Once again, I
Paste.
The PlayStation logo I used earlier, made it black and placed it in front of the TV to give the TV the illusion of being on. Then I worked on replicating the visuals on the first PlayStation 5 welcome screen. I started off with the lights in the top left corner and made it as believable as I could. Then I replicated the bottom left light source, then added a little bit of text to the welcome screen, and so far it looks pretty. Nice. I made a looping circle effect similar to the one on the PlayStation 5, and looking at that in action, that also looks pretty. Nice. Next, I worked on the classic PlayStation Galaxy Stars thing that we see in almost every recent Sony console. Funny enough, I thought having all these effects take place on something that isn't an actual television would be harder than it was, but after randomly placing all the specs, I added a little bit of movement to them, and they also came out pretty. Nice. Now I wanted to add multiple cameras so the player is able to see the TV and console from different angles. So with a simple press of L3, you're able to switch between 3 camera angles, with the last one being a close-up of the PlayStation 5 and controller. And also a little nod to my RPG. So after adding everything to the main welcome screen, it's time to work on the second one. Now this screen is where you choose your profile, and there's a lot of similarities to the first one, so I can keep a lot of that stuff the same. So after adding some text here and here, I'm now able to switch between the two. Then I needed the icons themselves, which are pretty simple to make since they're just circles with pictures on them. So once again, text here, here, and here made the process super easy, and it's actually starting to look like a believable PlayStation 5. I guess this is what you're capable of when you're broke and really want something in life. Now I just had to record the icons in different positions so you're able to switch between the two with the D-pad. Now comes the main tool that'll bring this entire project to life, and that is doors. Basically, this door thing lets you go to other places, and that's exactly what we need. So theoretically, after you choose your profile, using this door thing lets you go to the main area where you'll choose an actual game to play. Alright, next scene. Now to make the game screen, I only really needed the television. So after saving the PlayStation 5 welcome screen in another project, I can freely delete every single thing that I don't need here. And when I'm done, it'll look like this. Now, the first game screen that I'm gonna make is Spider-Man Miles Morales, and PlayStation 5 has this really cool feature where the background picture is based on the game your cursor is on. Now, I'm a really big Spider-Man fan, but if I tried to draw him myself, this video wouldn't be finished for another 2 days. So,
Copy. Paste.
this is a picture I'll be using as the background. So, cloning this picture allows me to make the icon that you'll select. Then after that, I started working on the cursor. Next detail is the text that goes here, here, and here. Then after trying to find the perfect font, I really hope Sony doesn't DMCA this video because this is really looking nice. Cloning this group of text lets me work on the next bit of detail. I added the game's motto thing here, then also added the play icon, and slowly but surely it's getting closer and closer to an actual PS5. I don't know, Sony might have some serious competition on their hands when I'm done with this one. I added more text here, then brought a clone of the icon to the bottom right corner of the screen to show the pricing and whatnot. You can't actually purchase it, so please don't sue me. But after, it looks like this. Wow. Next is adding the Explore choice in the menu. I also forgot to add more text, so done. And now you're able to switch between choosing Spider-Man or the Explore option. Next up is giving the Explore tab its own background. That's right, I'm calling them tabs now because I don't know what to call them because I don't have a PlayStation 5 yet. So after pressing a button and flipping a switch, the Explore tab now has its own background. Then I added more text here, here, and here. Then
Copy. Paste.
the same PlayStation logo I used earlier. Throw up some text here, and man, this is really looking nice. Like I'm not joking, it's really starting to look exactly like a PS5's menu. Hashtag don't sue Downer. But there's one more important thing that I want to add. My RPG Final Hour. And since Sony hasn't gotten back to me yet about releasing it on a PlayStation 5, I'll just add it on there myself. Welcome to Downer Islands. I couldn't afford one, so I made it myself PlayStation 5 experience. You start off at the main menu. Keep in mind you can switch between camera angles. Then after pressing the touchpad button, you're told to log in. After failing to create a new user, you then click on the only profile that'll ever matter, the Downer Island profile, which brings you to the main game screen where you're welcome to the next generation of gaming. You scroll over to Spider-Man Miles Morales, excited to swing around New York City, until denied. Well, that's fine, because there's still one other game to play. Oh wow, I'm really enjoying playing Final Hour on a PlayStation 5! And if you'd like to try my PlayStation 5 out yourself, all you need is a copy of Dreams and a link in the description. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.